Hey everybody, welcome to Go Get It by Getitlex Motivational Mindset, the podcast. Today I'm here with my girl Tameka, Coach Tameka. So you guys, I have to tell y'all, like, we literally, like, we was on time. We would have been on time. Yeah, technical difficulty after technical difficulty. But you know, it's always something that's gonna try to push you off what you're supposed to do, and especially when you're trying to do the right thing, it's always gonna be something to try to come and mess up your mind. And it almost got me for a second, but I was determined. We were determined to get this interview um, done and taken care of. So thank you again for your patience. Thank you for coming on to talk to everybody. Have a great inspirational story that I think everybody should hear. I'm ready to learn from you as well. Um, but I know a little bit about you, so you can tell the people who you are.
Okay, wait, let me start from the.
Start from Tameka, grew up around such and such, you live here. That's where you can start.
Say it again. It's kind of freaking up a little bit.
Who you are? Who is Tameka? From the beginning, like how old you are, where you from, how many kids you got.
Okay, I am Tameka. I am 36 years old. Born and raised Southside Richmond. Woo woo. I have two daughters. I have a 19-year-old that's in college, and I also have a 7-year-old as well. I'm a loving, caring, one of the most genuine people that you will ever meet. Um, I don't know. I'm an overall happy person, go getter, hard worker, and strive for the best.
Awesome. So now let's start at um, who is Tameka from the beginning. I want you to tell us some of the things that you feel like you experienced that has rounded you into the person you are today.
Okay, perfect. So I'll take it back to childhood. Okay. Um, my so I was the only child from my mom, and I guess you would consider spoiled. My grandparents, who are both now deceased, my grandma Ella and my papa, I was literally, I guess, I was shown favoritism and things like that. And I have to mention that because mentioning that will also give you an insight on how I was treated within my family. I grew up in a very toxic home. I watched my mother get abused. And it was very difficult as a child, when you would try to go and tell someone and, you would get reprimanded for telling the business in the home, but this is what you're seeing. And ultimately, I started running away from home. Actually ran away from home, and I started living with my grandmother. I actually graduated high school at the age of 16. And I also had my first daughter at 16 as well.
Uh,
Um, let's see. So from there, oh my gosh, I've been through so much. I got my first apartment in Fulton, and right when I turned 18, I actually became a dancer. Um, I was a dancer for many, many years. And when I tell you I made great money, it was a very great lifestyle. My grandmother, my family even loved it. It brought out the best in me. Um, I was be able to express who I was. Oh my gosh, I was just open up to a very different lifestyle, and I was able to travel. Um, I just lived a very expensive lifestyle back then. Um, and it taught me a lot. So during that time of being a dancer, I will also have like day jobs working at the hospital and things like that. But back then I would go on, when this was over 15 years ago, BB shopping sprees, and guys would purchase me vehicles and things like that. So while some people were happy for me, I know that a lot of people, especially in my family, were jealous, very jealous. And they didn't have any problem with showing it. So yeah, I pretty much grew up in a toxic household overall.
so how did that toxicity that you sometimes when you grow up and you're around like stuff like that, as I was myself, I was in a toxic situation. Sometimes you grow up and you feel like it's normal or it's not that serious. Like especially when you're living, when you're growing in your 20s or going to your 30s, like you feel like it's not that serious. Um, so how did that roll over into your adulthood years and affect you as far as making business moves, and coming from a young adult to a woman, and still having these images and ways of life that you haven't really confronted, transition into the things that you've done.
I'm going to be honest. It was very tough, and it still some days are very tough. Sometimes you sit back and you ask, well, I ask God why, but then I said, why not me, right? So I noticed in my 20s I had a lot of built up anger. I had a lot of built up anger, and to be honest, all I really needed was a hug or for someone to say, "Hey, I love you." I didn't hear
Mm-hmm.
that from my mom much, which was very difficult. However, I chose to be the total opposite when it comes to mine. I'm very loving. I'm very supportive. I'm very understanding and caring. Um, but yeah, I had a lot of anger growing up. And then I actually found myself getting into relationships that were kind of like the same type of environment that I grew up in. So I'm like, here I am, like I've experienced this as a child, and now I'm actually going through this myself. And I'm a domestic violence survivor. Um, my ex-husband not only was physically abusive, but he was mentally as well. He's actually incarcerated for attempted murder against myself. And that right there was a huge, between that and my grandmother passing, was, when I tell you, they were huge turning points in my life. I mean, oh my gosh. I just can't even really put into words, but those events were very impactful in different ways.
Hmm. Well, you know, I have been in domestic violence situations myself. I have witnessed things when I was younger, that wasn't ideal, okay, whatever. And then I grew up, it was like my dad, it's almost like I wasn't an only child, but it was like my dad, me and my sisters, uh, older, I'm the middle child, and it was like the oldest was special because she was the oldest, the youngest was special because she was the youngest, and then it leaves me. So like my dad was there, he did a lot for us, whatever, he did a lot, he was a father, but he never was like affectionate towards me. So I found myself as well, like, oh, I needed validation
Yeah.
from a man, and I just needed a man to be like, oh, you this and you that, you know what I mean? And I felt like, I don't know, I just felt like that just consumed my whole 20s. That consumed my whole 20s. And the extent of it was just like so crazy.
Yes.
And I couldn't imagine being married to someone that would look at someone else that they're married to as if they had that power to take them off the earth. And then I look at a situation one time where I thought it was like so minor, and I didn't talk about it a lot because I brushed it in the rug. But like I remember sitting on the back of my car one time, and the dude just like choked me so hard that I just passed out. And then when I woke up, he was dragging me and putting me in the passenger seat of my car. Right. And then that when you say that, and it just all comes full circle to me, like for a man to have so much power to feel like he can
Determine
control whether you live or die.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big deal.
And
And you sit here with this demeanor, and it's like you so like, well spoken, and so like just, how did you get that back? Like how did you get through that? Like,
so I do want to add first that during when these things were happening, I didn't really have anyone to turn to. Um, my ex-husband was a narcissist, and most people that knew him, he was so charming, you wouldn't believe that he was doing half the things I would say. I mean, that I would, tell people that he was doing. And it was at that moment of attempted murder that everyone is like, oh my gosh, you were really telling the truth this whole time. And I'm like, yeah. So I do want to mention that during that whole ordeal, I didn't have that much support. I didn't have that person to say, oh my gosh, you're wrong. Don't do this to her. Like, you need to leave. Like, I didn't have none of that. So everything was based off of, and mind you, the pastor was telling me I need to stay and work it out. And I'm like, I don't think you realize how serious this is. Nobody realized how serious the whole situation was, again, until he was arrested. Mind you, he was actually on the run for 2 weeks after trying to do that, and was literally stalking me for that whole 2 weeks until they finally caught him. So my grandmother passed in 2017, and like I said, she was my lifeline. When it came to my grandmother, I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to pay my own car note. I didn't have to pay my rent. My grandmother did everything for me. And it was after her passing, I felt like I had just been through so much, and losing her, like my best friend, losing her was one of the hardest things to have to deal with in my life. I turned to alcohol. When I tell you I was drinking morning, noon, and night, I didn't even care if I didn't eat anything. Alcohol was my breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I didn't even care if I didn't wake up the next morning. That's how bad her passing, impacted me. I then decided, I said, well, listen, either I'm going to live and make something of myself. I got eyes watching me. My grandmother's looking down at me like I got to make something happen. We ended up going to a shelter. And inside the shelter, so the original plan was to actually go to California. So I rode through Charlotte, and for some reason, also the shelters, they sometimes give you gas passes if you're traveling, trying to, get away from a place. And I got to the shelter, and they said, well, we got to ring up the passes. It's going to take about 3 days. So you will be here 3 days tops, with your daughter. So I said, okay, I can work with that. And every single time it was time to get that gas pass, to fill up and go to California, there was always an issue. Oh, we don't have the cards in yet, this, that, and the third. So 3 days turned into like 2 weeks. 2 weeks turned into like 4. 4 weeks turned into like a month and a half. And I said, okay, God, you are planting me here for a reason. What is it? What is my purpose in Charlotte? What am I supposed to do here? And in the shelter, I had a chance. I've built such great rapport with the staff, with the ladies at the shelter. I was able to talk to them about different things they were going through, help them with resumes, get jobs and things like that. And so I went to the counselor, and I said, listen, I'm going to go ahead and stay. Don't worry about the gas pass. I said, let me know what type of housing programs you have here so I can get me and my baby, we can get an apartment. So we pretty much set a record of being in the shelter less than 3 months, and we've got housing. And it was after that I started working for a small financial firm, and I became a board certified credit consultant. And I loved it, but I knew that my purpose wasn't to sit behind the scenes behind a computer. I'm like, I need to get out here, and I need to start helping our people. And that's what I've been doing ever since. That's why my passion and that drive is there, and like I said, I believe God placed me in so many different areas for a reason, because he knew that I would be an advocate, whether it's an advocate about credit, whether it's an advocate about being, domestic violence survivor, whether it's an advocate talking about PTSD and childhood trauma. God knew that once he placed me in these different areas, I'll be able to talk about it and be able to help somebody else. And I am so thankful that I have been through those things, and that I came out stronger, bigger, and better than ever. I'm telling you. But God. Woo! Woo.
Some people don't, some people are not able to come up out of those situations and, do the things that you've done. And I really hope that this motivates them. That somebody's listening that needs to hear this and just need to know that they have an outlet to talk and to try to get on your feet and to, get away and, just become a better person. I think that you being an advocate for all these different things is very much motivation. But first, what was it when you started working for the firm? What was the steps that you had to go through? Was it school, or was it a program through the firm you were working for? How did you actually become thoroughly certified, able to be a consultant?
So as far as credit consultant, you actually don't have to go to any type of college to become a credit specialist. However, it's great to do that so that you can become knowledgeable, because there are so many laws Don't forget how we met. You used to come pick me. Oh, I'm sorry. Hey, Keith. um,
I thought I didn't know if you could see the comments. I thought I put them up there for you.
yeah, I just saw hers. So you don't necessarily have to become, board certified or have any type of certification to become a credit specialist. However, it is great too, because there are so many different laws. I mean, different laws, rules, and regulations when it comes to the creditors, the credit bureaus, and things like that. So I actually, I started out there as a receptionist. Then she said, listen, I need a credit specialist. And then I took it upon myself and I went online and I looked up the credit association and I became board certified on my own. The test was very, very tough. Oh my gosh. I spent about, 2.5 weeks studying, and that test was one of the hardest tests I've taken in my life. I don't want to have to take it again.
But did you pass it on the first time?
I did, yes.
Oh, well, that's all that counts.
Yes.
I got me to pass. I'm just saying. Um, that's awesome. So how long did it take you? I know you said it briefly, but how long did it actually take from the time that you were in the shelter to the point that you were certified? How many months?
So let's see. I left the shelter like 3 months of being in there, which was very fast. I took advantage of everything they had there. Um, we went into our first apartment in Charlotte, I want to say in May of 2018. And I started, I would say about 6 months.
6 months.
Hmm.
So in that time, you're also a business consultant. So do those coincide? Like, were you able to kill two birds with one stone, or those were two different avenues you had to travel?
Those are two different avenues. And actually, business credit and business consultant is actually something that I started taking on this year. And my current client, most of my credit clients actually inspired me to. And when I tell you they are so dope, and just watching their businesses build from the ground up, it's just been so amazing. So that's something new that's been as of this year.
Awesome. So is it the same process as far
Uh,
as the credit and the business consultant?
No, so both of them were for me. Both of those were like at your own pace. So it took me 12 weeks for the business consulting certification, and I plan on going further with this. I don't know how further with my education I want to go when it comes to business, but no, it took 12 weeks, and it wasn't as extensive as the credit consultant test was.
So as a credit consultant, what are the services you offer?
So I do free credit analysis, which means that I pretty much give you the avenue of how to pull up your credit report. I thoroughly go over with you, then I call you back and give you a free consultation, let you know what I see on your credit report and how I can actually assist you. But let me mention this, okay? And this is very important. Understand that yes, this is a business for me, but it's a passion first. I understand it's a business. I have to make money, but the biggest joy for me is seeing my clients accomplish their goals, whether it's home ownership, which I've had many. They send me pictures when they purchase their, nice vehicles and things like that. So that's the greatest joy for me. So after I do the consultation, I let you know how I can assist you. And the reason why consultations are very important, and I've seen a lot of people make posts saying that, hey, you can do your credit yourself. Please be very careful, because you can actually do things that can hinder your credit report and that can drop your scores. So make sure you are knowledgeable in what you're doing. In addition to doing things like letter disputing, I call the creditors, and I like to also consider myself the credit bureau bully because we go back and forth often. I don't play with them, they don't play with me, so it's a little back and forth situation that I got going on with them. I also find ways, to clear out debts and things like that. I dispute inquiries have been removed. Whatever steps necessary that we need to take in order to get your credit profile healthy, we'll take them and I'll get you there. I also offer free financial budgeting boot camp. So everyone that is a part of my credit restoration services, I want them, by the time that they graduate my program, I want them to be able to have a certain amount of money in savings. So I do financial literacy as well.
She said my video am I freezing?
Um,
then see, I think I'm free. So I'm gonna try to stay as still as possible. Yeah, if I look strange, what I'm doing is only because I don't want to be like messing up. So
Okay.
I'm try to stay as still as possible. Um, so how? So are all your services in person, or do they reach you over the internet?
So I'm actually affiliated with a lot of realtors and lenders, and car dealerships. So most of the time, what they'll do is they'll say, "Hey, Tameka, I have this client that's trying to purchase a home. This is what her credit report is. I need you to get her right so that she can purchase her home. He or she can purchase their homes." Most of my clients are actually from my affiliates, excuse me, or by word of mouth from my current clients. They will tell family and friends. So I have a lot of clients right now. So I will be hiring somebody soon because this load is a lot.
Awesome. That's what we want. We want you to be able to impact as many people as you can in a positive way.
So that's
Um,
that's over the phone, but my business clients, I offer Zoom classes. I like to do Zoom classes, educate them and empower them throughout the weeks.
so how can they reach you as far as the classes are concerned?
Um, so
How can
they
they
can
do that?
So they can actually go to the elitecreditwarrior.com, and they can send me an email to the elitecreditwarrior@gmail.com and just let me know that you want to sign up for classes. They can also follow Coach Tameka on Facebook. And they can also join Black Owned RVA. That's my group as well. We have about 900 members. So I have multiple ways of contact.
So excuse me, how long are the classes usually?
So I like to do 8 Zoom classes, and I have each class structured with different topics. The first thing I like to do, I also do a business analyst as well to make sure that you have all the proper documents. Because I think one thing that we fail to do in our community, we start businesses, but we don't have the proper documentation. Right. So if they were to come in and audit your business and you're not legitimately properly running, they'll shut it down. So I first like to make sure the structuring of my clients' businesses is, up to par. And then, from there we talk about business credit. From there we're talking about investors and things like that. So my clients learn a lot. I typically like to do about 2 classes per week, which would be about 4 weeks, but sometimes my clients have to stretch it out a little bit more. And so it's pretty much at your own pace, but I do like to wrap it up and get my clients going as far as building their business as fast as possible.
Awesome. We was talking about business credit and personal credit. Could you tell me what's the difference? A lot of people don't know the difference between the two.
Okay, so the biggest mistake that a lot of people do is that they actually tap a lot into their personal credit when it comes to their business. So the first thing I want anyone to do that has a business is once you start applying for business credit, I need you to freeze your personal credit because we don't want any PGs, and that's personal guarantors. So we don't want to mix the two. You pretty much build your business credit and your personal credit the same. With your personal credit, hey, Paris. With your personal credit, you use your social security number, okay? But with your business credit, you use your EIN. And that's pretty much your social security number for your business. So with your personal credit, you can do things like, get unsecured cards, get secure cards, start building that way as long as you pay it back on time, keep your utilization at a certain percentage, which is between 33%. That keeps the credit bureaus happy, that keeps the creditors happy. And then with your business credit, you start getting vendors. And then what you do is, like, say for instance, if you have a spa, right? And you may reach out to a vendor and make sure they report to the credit bureaus. And so they set you up with an installment plan. So if you order a table that's like maybe $1,000, that business may give you a $2,000 credit, and you pay that table off. Make sure you pay it back on time. It's just like your personal credit, but it's actually 2 different credit reports. They don't look
Okay.
nothing alike at all.
I needed to hear that because I don't know. I really be freestyling sometimes when I open a business. I don't. Well, we
You
gonna.
just be going for the gusto, right?
I just go. I think about it and I
Yeah.
go and I do it. And these things like that, like business credit and personal credit, like I can Google it, but I think just people hearing you talk, like I said earlier, is way different
Mhm.
impact than just reading and trying to comprehend. So I hope you guys, whoever's listening, take advantage of her business classes and her consultations. I said consultations, business consultant and credit consultant classes that she offers. Um, you have any tips, um, other tips to how to build business credit that people might don't know, that you don't want? I know you don't want to give away too much, but anything that's like a small thing other than what you said about the credit card.
I also want to educate people. I see a lot of people not knowing what the Duns and Bradstreet, Duns number is. So your Duns number is pretty much like, you know how you may go to your doctor's office and you have a medical file. Your medical file has those numbers on it, and that's how they can identify you. Your DUNS number is pretty much your business profile to where they can identify you. So again, the most important thing is making sure that you have your EIN and using that EIN as your business social security number. Another thing is like I don't think people realize this also. Let's just say you open up a daycare. Somebody opens a daycare, you see it's fully furnished. 9 times out of 10, they probably didn't pay out of pocket for everything, like the tables, the chairs. They probably went through a business credit vendor and was able to purchase those things, using the business credit, and making installment plans, to pay that off. So a small tip that I would give would be, again, just like with your personal credit, if you get supplies, just make sure you pay it back on time. I don't care if it's personal or business. And I can't stress this enough. You know why? Because I've had some clients that say, oh my gosh, Tameka, last month my scores went down 40 points. And you look, oh yeah, you missed the payment. Missed payments, late payments, they will reduce your scores between 40 to 50 points at tops. I've seen it even more. So just be very mindful of that.
Awesome. So, how important is it for us as a community to learn about financial literacy, especially in these days and age?
It is very, very, very important for us to build healthy financial habits. I say that for many reasons. Number one, I think it's very important that we start teaching our children these things. Okay. I didn't have that growing up. I remember back in the day, I used to have the phone companies, Suncom and Nextel. And when I would get tired of having that cell phone, I would just hop to another phone company. Next thing you know, I'm trying to go purchase a vehicle and hear all these phone companies popping up on my credit report. Nobody ever told me you can't do that or pay this off, or no one ever told me that. So that's credit literacy. But when it comes to finances, I believe that we need to be a lot more responsible in our community. And we need to make more investments as well. I feel like our community, we kind of live in a world where we have to, I guess, keep up with the Joneses, and we have to try to keep up to please everyone else, and we're not looking at the bigger picture. Especially if you have children, your children should be the bigger picture. Their future is everything. So we want to watch how we spend. We want to, set boundaries. Just like a lot of my clients that's in my financial budgeting program, most of them do not have cable. We don't do cable over here. We do the Roku stick. We don't pay $200, $150 and stuff per month. So but it's okay to budget. It's okay to have a strategy. And when you don't discipline yourself, that's when you start, your money start running low, your money start looking a little bit funny. So you want to have a strategy, and you want to also display that same behavior in front of your children because they're watching you. Okay. And like I said, it's just important that we just be mindful of our spending habits.
So you also told me that you were a motivational speaker. I'm assuming that all these things are the things that you speak about.
Mm-hmm.
How often do you have events that people can actually just come and hear you speak and hear other people speak?
Oh my gosh, so let me tell you, if you go to my page, Coach Tameka on Facebook, you will see that I've been having 2 events per month. And they have been super, super successful. Shout out to all of my business clients. I love you guys. You guys are doing such a great job. They are amazing, let me tell you. So each event, we have a theme. Just like the last event was business. We was on business compliance and Canvas. So I actually talked about compliance and the rules and regulations of structuring your business within the state of Virginia. And then we painted on canvases right after that. And we always have great food. Okay. So I have those twice per month. That's located in Short Pump. And you can always go to those pages I mentioned earlier to get the latest details on how to be able to attend.
So is that Coach Tameka,
Yes.
or is Coach everybody in one?
Coach Tameka, just everybody, you know.
All around, all around. I'm Coach. You do everything, everything.
Yeah, and you know what? My clients gave me that name. You know, they said, "Hey, Coach." I said, "All right. So what y'all want, Coach Tameka? Y'all like that?" They're like, "Yes."
Oh, I just seen that once I said something about Coach. I saw her comment.
Yeah.
But I can tell like you're very enthusiastic and passionate about what you do, and I think that some people that step into the business, um, business,
Hey, Mrs.
um,
Barlow.
other people that step into business and trying to teach business or whatever, I think some of them do it because they know they can and they know it's lucrative in some cases. But then you have the people like yourself that does it because they know where they came from and what they didn't have, and um, what they learned that they know they can teach someone else. And I think that's how people trust you and can see that you're really about them without you even having to tell them. You know, just your
Yeah.
enthusiasm about people, your enthusiasm, and being able realizing that you came from somewhere and that you're moving forward. I think that's awesome. I think it's the great for the city. I think it's great for Charlotte because I know you're in Charlotte now, but
Yes.
they're getting a little piece of you, but we get a little piece of you too. So not
Yes.
gonna. You spoke to me about your partnership on one of these investing endeavors in Short Pump. So let's talk about the lactation lounge a little bit if you want to speak on
So
it. I thought that was
whoops.
very interesting.
Yeah.
I
So
think that's
listen.
very interesting. So
We got
mm,
Mrs. Barlow here. Get a huge shout out to Mrs. Barlow. That's my everything. That's my dog. So Mrs. Barlow came in and she told me about her idea of the lactation lounge, and I said okay. She said that she think that there should be a place where breastfeeding moms and parents can go to be able to pretty much have a safe haven and be able to walk around freely and breastfeed without having to feel like they have to cover up and things like that. And I'm like, that's a dope idea. So she was like, in addition to that, I think it should be lactation consultants on site and also postpartum support as well. So I'm like, oh, listen, that's a dope idea. Let's make this happen. So I want to say within 45 days, 45 to 60 days of Miss Barlow telling me that, we actually got her business started. And not only that, a very beautiful building that she had been looking at over the past year, we were actually able to get that for her. I wrote up a very nice grant for the management company. They accepted it. And so the lactation lounge has been open for, let me see, June, July, August, almost 2.5 months now. So yes, Mrs. Barlow is here. It's definitely a wonderful venture, a very great idea, and we're
right.
definitely looking to expand not only through Richmond, the state of Virginia, but the United States as well. Because people are like, when are you going to bring that to Charlotte? When are you going to do this? And I'm like, oh my gosh! So it's a very exciting thing. Very exciting.
I think that is awesome. I think that's a great concept, a great idea, being that Short Pump is heavily populated with buildings, businesses, eateries, shopping centers, everything. So it's people out shopping and moms out shopping and don't want to be you know uncomfortable feeling in front of
Mm-hmm.
the big crowd. I think that's an amazing idea. So
Yeah.
congratulations to
Yes.
you both for that endeavor. Just my question, I know you said um, you helped write up a grant about about a building. How does that go when somebody wants to somebody's coming to you consulting with you and wants to open up a business? How do you play in them actually being able to obtain a building?
So I have different fees, and that can be found on my website as well, or if you inquire through email. But I actually write grants, proposals for grants. That can take me a few weeks to write. It's very in depth. It's very informative. So pretty much what happens is, if you're looking for, sometimes depending on where you're getting the building at, they may say, hey, we want to know how you guys are going to utilize this building. What type of revenues do you plan on bringing in? What's that forecast? They ask a lot of questions, wanting to know how are you going to use a building and how are you going to upkeep it, to be able to pay the rent and things like that. So it was a very intense process. However, we got it done. I'm glad we got that done. Oh my
Exactly.
goodness.
You are just, oh my gosh, you are just like a ray of light, and I hope that
Oh,
it reaches everybody who needs Because you said a lot. Like my mind is churning right now as we're talking because it's like little things that I didn't know about, like you spoke on. It was just like that, and it was like, oh, that makes sense, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope that people really do take this and utilize her services. It's like this is like if you need a foundation, somebody to help you need some construction workers. Like she is like a whole, team that you would need to help build the foundation of your business. And I really, really hope you utilize it. Um, I got one more question.
Okay.
And you already said this earlier, but we're going to briefly say it again. What keeps you focused and motivated when you run into situations or hurdles that are unexpected and may be discouraging? How do you stay motivated?
Prayer. Prayer. And to be honest with you, in the very darkest, deep, darkest moments that I've been through things, prayer is what always brought me through. And then, especially when I have my 7-year-old and she's looking to me to be strong, and she's looking up at me, and I know that I have to keep going, right? And then I also have clients, and I don't want to just keep saying clients because these, like, they become like my friends. So they are, looking up to me as well, to be strong, and I have to set that example and be that role model also. So anytime I feel like I'm getting down, to that space, or I need some encouragement, see, because along the way, not having someone physically put me in a position to where I had no other choice but to talk to God. So now
Mm.
that comes naturally now. You know what I'm saying? I've, I've done it so much. Not only have I thought it, but I've spoken to him. I've heard him speak to me. And sometimes God will put you in a position, not saying that you deserve these things, but sometimes God will put you in the very positions to where you have no other choice but to listen to him and to learn how to communicate with him. So yes, now going forward, when I get into those dark moments, I turn to God, and I'm telling you, he will never lead you astray. I'm telling you. Woo.
Never. Gosh almighty. Mm. Yes, ma'am. Mm. Thank you. Thank you for coming on here today.
Thank you
Um,
for having me. I truly, truly appreciate you. This means so much to me. I
this means
love what you're doing. I love what you're doing for the city. As I was telling you earlier, I've never seen anyone literally take time out to, see or to listen to the stories of those that are like in Richmond. I've never seen this done before. And it's truly a blessing because, at the end of the day, we all deserve to be heard, right? And to see people on here that and to see and to hear the things that they've been through, and that you are allowing this on your platform, that's a very great blessing. And I'm telling you, it's only up from here for you. Understand that. I told you that.
just encountering this is like encountering people that's trusting in me that don't even know me. That's a big deal for me. That's that replaces the validation that I needed,
Mm-hmm.
from other people. It's like um me gaining something as well as giving something to the community.
Yes.
I'm gaining all the way around the board. I'm gaining business relationships. I'm gaining trust. I'm
Yes.
gaining knowledge, and I'm able to give it to other people without them having to ask for it. They
That's
can click on
right.
a, they can get some inspiration without even having to, say, "Hey, please help me." Please. They can all just come here and scroll down and just click on one and hear something that can just inspire you to do something different. And if I can do that, that's a big deal for me. And when I wake up and I'm mad at work and I get to come on and do interviews with people like you, that erased all the bad that I had in my day, truly.
Oh,
And
yes.
I'm thankful, and
Yes.
I'm honestly thankful, and I'm so ready to build my business and my foundation and get some motivation. That's all I want at this point. And I like I said, I pray that this reaches the hands of the people who needs it.
That's right. And listen, I want to see you at my next event now.
Yes, you got to give me the information. You said it was the 27th or the 23rd, 25th. It's one of those days, right?
Yeah, it
Wednesday.
is. Yeah, I have to give me 1 second. I'm living a lifestyle now where I gotta keep referring to my calendar. It should
Me.
be on the 22nd. Mrs. Barlow, it's the 22nd, right? She know better than I do. I think it's, yes, the 22nd. It might be the 29th. Mrs. Barlow, she'll put it in the comments.
Yeah, and I figure it out. But yes, I already told my friend about it. I was like, "This is my first time being invited to a business event, and I'm
Yeah.
excited because I want to be able to go somewhere where I know my purpose is what I, you know, I don't want to go nowhere where I'm just lingering around, you know, like just mingling with people about nothing. So I'm excited. Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. You and listen, you will love everyone. So everyone has like everyone is genuine. All that show up, everyone is genuine. We sit down, we talk first, you know, we eat over some good food and have great conversation, and everyone just loves to network. So just know that not only when you come to these meetings, you're going to get the information that you need, you can get your questions answered, but you also have a family. Like when I tell you, we are so, oh my gosh, it's just beautiful. It's beautiful, you know, what we're building. And I definitely want you to be a part of that. Yes.
You just said the 29th. So the 29th,
Okay.
I'm there.
Okay.
I'll make sure I don't have any interviews that day. Put that in my calendar because now that's what I have to refer to as well in my calendar.
Okay.
So definitely. So thank you again. Thank you for your patience. I look forward to seeing you and everyone who commented on the 29th. You guys share it. I hope someone really, really, really hears this and reach out to any one of us and just, you know, domestic violence, business, entrepreneurship, all that. Um, thank you.
Absolutely.
See you on the 29th and enjoy the
Oh,
rest of your night.
you too. Bye.